you hear some people complain that farmers only work for 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall, and but then for my experience, I think most farmers that are working, like, a lot of hours. People don't realize the hours that go into it and how that can affect, your family, your health, or your stress load, and so, especially in times like this when prices aren't very good or things like that.
Hello and welcome to Illinois Corn TV. I'm your host, Shane Gray. Hey, if you've spent any time around agriculture or even just scrolling social media platforms, you've probably come across the Peterson Farm Brothers. From parody videos to real conversations about farming, they've built one of the most recognizable voices in agriculture. With nearly 500,000 followers on several different social media platforms, please welcome Greg Peterson of the Peterson Farm Brothers and founder himself. Greg, welcome to Illinois Corn TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I've spent, I've seen your videos for years. I never dreamed I'd have the opportunity to sit down and talk to one of the Peterson brothers here. So this is a real honor for me. Really enjoy the stuff you guys do. But I'm kind of curious here. When you and your brothers do some of these music parodies, and you've had a great deal of success doing it. If we go back to the first one you guys ever did, which I still think is maybe one of the best ones, what made you think that hey, farming needs a music video?
Yeah, so I was a student at Kansas State University, majoring in ag communications, and so we were talking kind of about the need to advocate for agriculture in class. I mean, that was kind of a big talking point back then in 2012, and so we would brainstorm different ideas as part of class discussions, and I think that's kind of where the initial idea came from. But I was really thinking more so of some of my college friends at K-State. There were a lot of Kansas City kids, and even in high school, we had a lot of Salina kids from 10, 15 miles away coming to our high school, and they didn't know anything about farming, so I was always trying to teach them, and so yeah, I mean that was my target audience was my city friends. And when we filmed the first video, and I of course enlisted the help of my two younger brothers. And when we filmed it, we had our friends in mind, and we knew that they would watch it, but we didn't know how many more people would watch it than that. I mean, our hopes were high, but definitely not high enough. I think the highest view count we talked about getting was, hey, maybe we'll get 50,000 views on this thing. What ended up happening is we got 5 million views in a week. So that was how everything got started for us, was a viral video essentially.
When you guys come up with these parodies, I mean, is this kind of a group collaboration, or is one or all or a couple of you who's writing the lyrics and coming up with these songs? Because they seem to be everyone I see. I'm like, yeah, it fits those lyrics they've come up with. They fit perfectly and they tell a great story.
Yeah, so I would say the filming process is definitely collaborative with all three of us. The lyric writing is mostly, 95%. I do most of it, but my brothers will send me some ideas of a song sometimes or something. But I don't know. I grew up wanting to be a musician, wanting to be write songs and stuff, and I've written
Oh
songs over
yeah.
the years, but they obviously don't get as much traction as the farm parody. So
Eh,
it's kind of my outlet of
right.
lyric writing and just the whole creative process, and just I'm a creator at heart, so I love building things, whether that's on the farm
Right. That's
or through a
great.
song. I don't necessarily love the process of the lyric writing and the filming and the editing, but when it's all done, I love looking at the finished product and saying, "Hey, we built this together." So.
Exactly. And I don't know, this may put you on the spot a little bit, but I think when people watch these, especially if they're not real familiar with what goes on the farm, because when I watch the videos, I'm looking at it and going, yeah, that's happening every day somewhere. But can you think of one particular lyric or video where someone who's not familiar with the farm would watch it and think that's funny, but you're like, no, this really happens on the farm.
Yeah, so our most watched video between all the different platforms is Tractorstuck, and we think that's because it's so relatable, right? Is all the farmers watch it and say, Yeah, I've been there, I've gotten a tractor stuck, that's how it goes, but yeah, people outside of ag, I think they watch that video and they think, "Did do farmers really get their tractors buried that deep in the mud?" And it's like, "Yeah, we do," and we did stage the tractor that got stuck in that video, we staged that one, but then we had our Facebook followers send us pictures of their actual worst tractor stucks, and, so it made a pretty good video.
Have you seen some real business opportunities that maybe you hadn't envisioned happening or occurring pop up because of the videos and stuff that you do?
Yeah, definitely so, and yeah, I don't think that was part of our initial plan, and even probably the first 4 years of this, we weren't really making, there wasn't really any sponsorships involved, and YouTube wasn't paying very much, and so, we started doing speaking engagements, and that was something that was able to kind of fund our time of what we put into it, but, I would say starting, like, 2016, we started getting some sponsorship requests, and I mean, now, in 2026, that is huge, all sorts of people are putting marketing dollars into, social media content, but early on in 2016, that was kinda new territory, so, but yeah, that's kind of been a big part of it as well. And I tell people that it's been a big part of bringing all 3 brothers back to the farm because in 2013, our farm was supporting just dad and his kids and his wife and kids. Now, it's supporting 4 different families, and so, we had to grow, and we could have maybe found some other ways to grow and support that, but the social media basically was able to kind of, easily bridge that gap.
And I can see that. I mean, when I did some research on the number of followers and sponsorships that you had on different social media platforms, I'm like, man, I don't know if this was the intent, or if it was just to have a little bit of fun. But this thing is really, it's grown in a very positive way, in a sense that everybody can still be involved in the farm and maybe subsidize some income, especially in this day and age when things on the farm are a little bit tough. So, congratulations on that. I guess I would ask you now, if you had some young people out there, and were wanting to do something like what you guys are doing right now, what would be your advice in trying to build a brand on social media in agriculture or in any field for the most part?
Yeah, so my advice is, don't necessarily think that it's just gonna be easy or simple. It takes a lot of, hard work. It's just like any job. It's just like farming. You've gotta kinda persevere through the early stages and ask people for help, look at people who are farther down the road than you and kinda emulate some of the things that they do, and, yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a saturated market these days is what I tell people. When we got started in 2012, we felt like we were some of the only farmers on YouTube. Now there's thousands. So you gotta stand out with your creativity, with your humor, with your authenticity, and just hope for the best and just keep working.
Is there an area out there that's ag related that you've seen that maybe's untapped or people could be a part of? I know, as a farmer, I know when you deal with the trucking and you deal with the fertilizer people and all this stuff, it seems like everywhere you go, each one of those industries has some characters in there. And when I think of you and your brothers, I look at them, I'm like, oh, that guy could be a movie star right there at the local branch facility or the FS facility or whatever. So,
Yeah.
do you see any industry out there that's related to ag that maybe is untapped or has potential?
Yeah, well, I wanna just say that, yeah, like, all the ag influencers, I've met quite a few of them, and they're all good people, and they all kinda have we all kinda have different skill sets and different personalities and different, forms of humor and all these different things. So, to me, it's like, yes, the market's a little saturated just from a,
Right.
business standpoint, but from a, um, technical I mean, anybody who wants to kind of find their own place, just be yourself, right? We're all different, and you want to be yourself, be authentic, but at the same time, use your creativity, use your humor, use your experiences. Your experiences are going to be different from other people's experience. We've gotten to travel and do speaking events in all 50 states, and every state you go to, farming is different, and
Right.
so there's
Right.
a lot of different stories to be told, and I think the untapped market is actually people outside of agriculture. If you can find content that can relate to those people, you're gonna have so many viewers because, the algorithms will take you to all sorts of different places.
I think you're right. And as far as, every farm being a little bit different, I know when, in my travels being out in central Kansas where you're located, I was always amazed at the amount of irrigation that was going on in Kansas, Nebraska, people paying for the water or maybe being limited on the amount of water that they could use for the irrigation. And I think about us here in central Illinois, and I'm like, we're trying to tile as many fields as we can and get the water off of us as quickly as we can. Whereas now I know people who are in the farming industry are paying to get that water on there. So it is every farm tells a different story, and to me, it's all interesting. I think you guys do an excellent job with that. Um, hey, maybe some lighthearted, some fun things here. Uh, I got to ask, of all the parodies that you guys have done, which one is your absolute favorite and why?
I mean, yeah, they all kinda hold a special place after all the work you put into them and kinda seeing what they turn into. But one of my favorites is Forage Harvester because I think that's one of our more iconic ones. It's gone viral on TikTok here even recently, just because this whole concept of hard rock music and silence chopping, to me, it fits, it feels good. We've all that's one of our all I think all three of us brothers, silage chopping is one of our favorite jobs on the farm. So to get to make a music video about that.
What do you think from all the parodies and stuff that you've done and all the knowledge that you have on the farm? Is there one stereotype at the farm that is actually true that people like to have some fun with?
Oh, stereotype, I don't know.
I
I would
mean, do all
say
farmers start their day with beef sticks and Slim Jims like you and I did today?
maybe. I think the working long hours, I don't know, you hear it both ways, right? You hear some people complain that farmers only work for 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the
Right,
fall, and
right.
but then for my experience, I think most farmers that are working, like, a lot of hours. People don't realize the hours that
No, they
go
don't.
into it and how that can affect, your family, your health, or your stress load, and so, especially in times like this when prices aren't very good or things like
Mm,
that. So it's I think the
exactly.
stereotype of farmers working hard is accurate. There's certainly different times of year where sometimes a year we're not working as hard as others, but,
Right.
um, when it's all said and done, if you have a large farm that's diversified, you're putting in some good hours.
Absolutely. A lot of unseen hard work going on there on every farm. All right, couple more questions here, just real simple. We'll see how honest you're going to be about this. But of you and the brothers, who's the best farmer?
Well, I think we all have different skill sets, and we like to joke. We're competitive, the three of us.
Oh, I can imagine.
We've played sports together our whole lives. Lots of one-on-one battles and basketball, things like that. But so we would probably all say that we're the best farmer. But in reality, Nathan he focuses more on the cropping side of things in our farm. Kendall focuses more on the cattle, and I focus more on the social media. But we all help each other out, and it makes a good team effort. And I think that there's just different skill sets that when you can pool those together, you're better off in the long run. So
Right. Okay. Well, and maybe you just answered my next question with that answer because I was gonna ask who the best farmer was, but then I want to know who do you think's the best entertainer of the three?
the best entertainer, I think, I don't know. I suppose Nathan and Kendall would say that I am I don't know. There's different. I think like Nathan is underratedly funny, and Kendall especially early on. He's always been the youngest, so he's always looked maybe better than Nathan. He's the youngest. That's just how it is. But I think that as far from being on stage standpoint, I minored in music in college and just do a lot of different music things outside of our YouTube channel and farming and stuff. So I probably have the most experience on stage, but I think that, again, it's similar to farming. When you put all three of us together, it's more entertaining than just one of us.
So what I'm hearing is of the three brothers, you're the best farmer and the best entertainer.
Yeah, yeah, mark it down, mark it
There you
down.
go. Sounds great.
Right.
Not to be corny, but why do the Peterson brothers always stay happy?
Um, I got nothing. I got nothing.
Because they're plowing through life with a smile.
Nice.
How
That's
about
good.
that? That's not a bad way to end it right there, right?
Yep, I like it.
All right. Hey, it has been a pleasure to talk to you and kind of pick your brain about agriculture and social media stuff. I know Illinois Corn TV. We model what we try to do off the same platforms that you guys are working with, and you're doing a great job. So keep up the great work. Look forward to the next parody videos out there. And Greg, you and your brothers, best of luck, and have a safe spring and safe summer.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.